So Campaign Asia is back at Cannes. I'm Robert Sawatzky, I'm head of content, and I'm with Matthew Miller this year.
Hello.
So Cannes again, it's a bit of a slower start maybe to Cannes this year because it's a bit of a shortened program, and so Monday doesn't quite feel like the same hustle and bustle maybe as last year. We'll definitely pick up, and our schedules will sure pick up as the week goes on.
Yeah, I have no previous impressions to go by, but certainly it seems like it's going to be an interesting week. Last night we were walking around and looking at all the construction that was underway for all the cabanas along the shore here, and a lot of trees have to die for a modern trade conference to take place. But certainly a lot of people have a lot of exciting things planned. It was a bit slower start for us today, but we have lots of things coming in the next few days.
Yeah, they were like sawing and cutting and putting everything up, but again, you have a lot of what hasn't changed is the big beach houses and the big installations that we have along the beach from like the Facebook, Google, Twitter has a bigger one I think than last year. What was new for me was like Spotify has a much bigger section. They're obviously going to have some big concerts now, but there are some other brands too. Alibaba has a bigger presence this year, I noticed, inside the Palais. It took over the spot where Instagram was last year on kind of the main staircase. Otherwise, consultancies, I think I'm seeing a bit more of them, a bit more presence. IBM, again, another sort of presence along the side of the Palais as with Accenture. And as usual, all the yachts with all the ad tech companies and a lot of companies with X in their name.
Yeah, I met one of those companies today. Part of my time was spent with Index Exchange. So they're a new programmatic, not a new programmatic exchange. They've actually been around for over a decade. Which one of my first questions is what kind of ad tech industry was there over a decade ago? But there was. But anyway, they're an independent based in North America, but they've recently launched in Japan through a partnership there with Dentsu's CCI. And they are planning on opening up in Singapore pretty soon. And ad tech companies, sure, there's lots of ad tech companies opening in Asia. That's not news. What was kind of interesting from the conversation was that they feel quite confident that Japan in particular and Asia in general are really ready for the next wave of what's coming in digital in digital advertising, and that is transparency enabled by the technology rather than the technology being seen as a black box that hides where everybody's money goes and enables ad fraud and all that. So they, their point of view is it's come a long way, and they're a publisher-oriented company. So they're that's their whole bread and butter is making things work for the publishers.
Yeah. So, and speaking of not wanting to sort of have black boxes and kind of the old way of doing things, I met with Media Math and had a good discussion with them. Actually, a lot of what they were talking about, I met with Dave Reed, who's the international president, as well as their CTO, Wilfried Schoberei. And they were saying they're here to talk a lot actually about GDPR and meet with other companies because it's this great big change. It's going to transform the way programmatic is done, but it's still not 100% clear what's. Oh, excellent.
So this was given to me by the people at Index Exchange. So GDPR obviously on everybody's mind.
Yeah, don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. It's actually
sorry to interrupt you.
It's really important. But yeah, GDPR is a big topic of conversation. So it's something that they definitely want to figure out. We also talked a lot about the consultancies and Accenture coming into programmatic and so on. They see it with their kind of open platform that's thinking it's a good thing. Anybody that else wants to kind of build on to programmatic with their platform is great. They are doing something with McKinsey now too, so they're quite welcoming of that. Also, we spoke with them about IBM. They have a partnership with IBM. A lot of people saying IBM might buy Media Math. Talk to them. They certainly didn't deny it. They certainly said that there's a lot of positives and there's a lot of synergies. So we'll see what happens there. We also saw a couple sessions today.
Yeah, right. Speaking of McKinsey, I spent a little bit of time hearing from a couple of their people on some new research that they've done, and the headline out of that session was that the companies that are doing a really good job of integrating creative with their data approach are winning to the tune of 2 times better revenue growth than the companies that aren't. So it started off with that old dichotomy of should you be a data-led organization or a creative-led organization, and their point of view was yes, you should be both, and that those two can actually work together better than a lot of people think, although it's not easy. And their recommendations were along the lines of instituting Agile as a development model, which basically the simple way of thinking about Agile is where you bring together all the relevant parties to work in concert on a very clear, very focused objective. And companies that can do that and bring the data and the creativity together, they find that there's actually more cross-fertilization between those than you might think. A lot of data people are interested in the creative process, and a lot of creative people are interested in the insights of it that can be gleaned from the data. So that was a good thing.
I saw something completely different and took a bit of a gamble. Not quite sure if it paid off. It was about, but a really interesting topic, and that was kind of it's called the death of masculinity. And I guess it's looking at right now too with the Me Too movement and with all the changes that are happening with women. This is hosted by Faith Popcorn, is like a renowned futurist. I don't know who gave her the renowned title, but it's always something that she seems to throw in there. But it was looking at kind of, so she said everything, we're focusing on women, what about the men? What's going to happen to them kind of as we go through all these changes? And of course, a lot of people put it in perspective, going from say, 98% of men in powerful positions to 88% is not a huge change. It's so a lot of it was just kind of get with the program. They talked a little bit about advertising. That was the interesting part for me. So for me, it was they showed a couple of Axe ads where one was the old school ad where a guy on a beach takes off his shirt and all these women come racing towards him. And then one they did later on where it's all about men. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to kind of feel unsure of yourself. It's okay to do all these things. And they just noticed the kind of the difference. And what one of the panelists pointed out was that in the first instance, it's all about men and sort of saying, it's like, what do I need to make myself masculine? Because I don't have it. So I need this product to make me more masculine to do these things. Whereas the other one was, what am I? I'm actually expressing what I am. And so that is what makes it a much more powerful ad. So kind of looking at, anyways, kind of a different version of masculinity that comes into the advertising. That was the most interesting takeaway I saw. So we have lots up tomorrow as well. I'm going to be speaking with Mars. I'm going to be speaking with Samsung CMO. So there's lots of stuff up.
I honestly can't remember who I'm meeting with tomorrow, but I know that they're interested.
So, anyways, we'll be back with another wrap up tomorrow, straight from Cannes, and of course, look up all the other stories that you'll see on campaignation.com.